Hi, today we're going to be talking about one of my favourite things, oldish CBBC shows. Now, some of you may be, you know, saying that I have already done this and I'm just recycling titles because of lazy writing. Well, not exactly, because this one's different. This time they are actually ranked, and I'm actually going to sort of put more, talking into it and explain why. So, number 10 is Prank Patrol, and I mean the UK version only, not the shitty, Australian Prank Patrol Down Under. But this one was with the legendary Barney and the Ninjas, which was just a really funny show, and I think it maybe made some of us like paranoid. Like every time something went wrong, we thought, "Oh, maybe it's a prank. The ninjas are hiding somewhere," or something like that. But it was just a very fun show and just showed, how, and it was just funny to see the people's reactions, and each individual prank was like related to their personality. Number 9 is Raven, and I don't mean the modern reboot, I mean the classic Raven, with James Mackenzie as Raven. This was just such a great game show. It was quite unique in the fact that it had like one series for the same contestants. I just quite really liked the individual challenges and the format of collecting the rings and losing lives, and the way of the warrior at the end. It was just a very enjoyable game show, and obviously there's the iconic line of "Let the challenge begin." Number 8 is Shaun the Sheep. Is Shaun the Sheep. I love sort of Aardman animations, and this is a sort of spin-off of Wallace and Gromit. But it's just so good, and it's just amazing how much they can achieve with like not a single spoken word. All the characters from like the farmer to Bitzer to each individual sheep, and even the pigs are just really sort of funny. Also, sort of, it's kind of like short. It's something you might like if you've got like a spare 7 minutes. I'll watch on the sheep after you finish like one TV show, and it's just it's a really fun and just enjoyable, funny show with all kinds of hilarious mishaps happening every episode. Number 7 is Sorry I've Got No Head. Often, people refer to it as the children's version of Little Britain. It's just a very funny show, and great cast. We have Marcus Brigstock and Mel Giedroyc in it. It's just like each individual character. There's some very iconic ones, especially the £1,000, those two, and the Museum of Imagination. Philippe, the French exchange student. I mean, I could go on, but there's just so many brilliant and hilarious characters. I love how each sketch, each different episode, the same character has the same kind of things happening, but they change it just a little bit, so it's still, quite interesting and funny every time. They always keep it fresh. Just a very funny, enjoyable show. I've just noticed that I've said funny and enjoyable twice about two shows in a row. Oh dear. Anyway, on to number 6, which is the Basil Brush Show. This iconic, legendary, hilariously funny fox goes ha ha ha, boom boom. I mean, even like as an adult, it's just a funny sitcom. It is just as hilarious now as it was back then. It never gets any less funny, and even all the other characters are just they really sort of add to it. Especially Molly, Dave, Stephen, and Neil. It's just so funny, and just the timing of it is just so perfect. I mean, this it's just like basically an adult show without like the offensive stuff. It's just, I mean, that's what really have to say about it. It's just a hilarious sort of sitcom. Number 5 is Horrible Histories. This show, it makes me sort of interested in history. It just portrays it in a very interesting way. I mean, I wasn't that good at history in school, but this show is almost, all the history I know is just from this TV show. And I mean, who can forget all the songs? I'm not going to go into them right now, but there are just so many amazing songs from this TV show. I love the original cast. I should point out, not the modern one. Ugh. But they just had really good chemistry. All the cast had like really good chemistry together, and they just were really able to make every sketch was entertaining. Some of them were references to TV shows as well, but it was sort of really engaging and funny and interesting, and that was what made me interested in like history and stuff. That's how I know a lot of stuff about it. Number 4 is Ooglies. Now, of course, I'm talking about the first 2 amazing series, not the shitty, awful, modern Ooglies font size, which is so terrible. It's an insult to the original 2 series. But I don't even know where to begin. I was so obsessed with Ooglies as a child. But I love how each individual character had their own sort of sketch, with the same kind of thing happened, but it was always slightly different. So it was always very engaging. You didn't know what was going to happen next. But you kind of did. But it was always, they were able to sort of keep it interesting every single time. But I think the real reason why I love the show so much is the fact that different sketches always combine with each other, and the individual characters keep on meeting each other, and they've always got their own sort of individual gag for it. So it is okay. Admittedly, the show is quite predictable, but at the same time, it's not. But it's just there are just so many sort of references to it, and some people say it's just objects with eyes moving around, but there is just so much more to it than that. If you really look into it, so if you watch every single episode, then once you get to the final one, there's just so much amazing continuity, and stop motion animation is just amazing, just top quality. Number 3 is Trapped. I mean, I've made so many videos about this show already, and I've just established it, and I'm going to say it again. It is an amazing show, amazing format. Love the challenges, and the caretaker's really funny, and just the whole sort of omnipresent voice, who you don't properly find out who she is. It does open a lot of questions, but I mean, I just love the game show format of how one of them is secretly working against the others, and you've got to figure out who it is. And there's only one winner, how you're sort of working together, but there's only one winner. And it's just it's a wonderfully spooky concept of being trapped inside this tower forever. But, it does kind of turn you against your mates. But I think that's kind of why the show is so interesting. And, there's so many iconic lines, ranging from "you're trapped" to "do not react, you are the saboteur." I mean, I just love this show, but I mean, you know that, but this is why. Number 2 is Bear Behaving Badly. Now, I surprised myself at the fact that I put this above Ooglies and Trapped, because throughout my childhood, I always liked Bear Behaving Badly, but I'd rather watch Ooglies or Trapped. But I kind of just feel I owe it a bit. I owe this show, because it's just always kind of been there for me. If those other shows weren't there, this one was always there for me. I just never really gave it the appreciation that it deserved. It's just every episode is just funny, and it's really quite heartwarming. I love all the characters. Niv and Barney just as friends. That is just a really it's just heartwarming how much the characters get along, and even Mr. Angry Pants. He's not a villain exactly, but he's just such a funny character. And there are a lot of sort of running jokes in it, but it just never stops being funny, and I just cannot not enjoy the show. It is just, such an enjoyable show to watch. Oh, I've said it again, haven't I? Before I get to number one, here are a couple of honourable mentions. Little Howard's Big Question, Hotel Trouble, Fee Fi Fo Yum, Horrible Histories, Gory Games, Me and My Monsters. And the number one best CBBC show is Dick and Dom in the Bungalow. This show is just the funniest thing ever. It's just so enjoyable to watch. These kids can just basically just go crazy on live TV. And there are just so many iconic games from this show, from bogeys to creamy muck muck, and Dirty Norris, Yum Yum Yak, Harry Bat's interrogation game, the Eeny Meeny Macaracararai Dominaka Sticky Popper Dicky Popper Pom Pom Stick or something. But I could go on. But this show, just the reason it is number one is because even as an adult, I like it even more. And kids love it, adults love it. It just really shaped our generation. I think Dick and Dom are just such a fundamental part of growing up in the 2000s in Britain. It's just so hilarious and funny. Well, okay, that doesn't make sense. Hilarious and funny. Anyway, it's just I feel that maybe they wouldn't be allowed to do it now because occasionally things go a bit out of hand and some children do some kind of rude and inappropriate things in this show. I think that's what really adds to it. If you want to check what I mean, go on YouTube and type in either Dick and Dom carrot or Dick and Dom meatball. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it is pretty damn hilarious. And that is it, really. And these shows were my childhood. If there's any show that you liked that I didn't put in the list, tell me.